Hey, Kimberly,
Hello.
how are you?
A little tired.
Yeah, for real. Happy Monday. Real tired.
Welcome to Talk Like a Mother Parenting Autism Podcast. We are Jen, Kim, Rachel, and Jaime. Take a seat at our table as we share with hope, humor, and honesty.
Hello, and thank you for joining us today as we continue our series 24, episode 4, Joys of Parenting Autism. I always have a hard time with the word joy or find the joy. I used to want to crawl out of my skin when I would hear that, but now I actually find the joy and I see the joyful stuff. So I've really evolved. I want to read a quick quote before we get started from our friend Kate Swenson in her book Forever Boy. This is the thing that stood out to me the most when I think about joys of parenting and autism in particular. That's the only parenting I've done. It's just so different than I pictured. It's not how I thought it would be. So this really resonated with me. Stepping off the path that every other child follows is crushing and one of the hardest steps you will ever take as a special needs parent. So I think like when you're in that place, it's hard to find joy in the things. And I've always said there's such highs and lows that come with parenting autism. I have a very different outlook on it now, and I'll let you ladies chat about it first. But Rach and I are the only ones that have one kid, both autistic. But Jane, what about you?
I have two kids, and, autism is part of everyone's lives in my family because, we all have a person in our life with autism, and there's beautiful things that come from that, and that's really difficult things that come from that. But I think in general, what I've figured out is that, within our family, we can see a lot more of the joy in things than I think we would know or understand if we didn't have autism in our lives. I always talk about how we have to do everything at like a minute level in our home. Just even like, I always use the analogy of like getting my son to eat like a peanut butter and jelly sandwich and how many steps that was, like years and years of like him deconstructing it and messing with it, which is like a typical thing. That's how kids figure out food and all that stuff. But then that went on for a while, and then he wouldn't eat sandwiches because it wasn't just one thing. It was, a sandwich is made out of like 3 ingredients, and that was like too much. And then, getting him to properly hold a sandwich and put it to his mouth. Like now my kid eats that almost every day for lunch, which is amazing. That's really good. And the first time he did that, or we started to realize like, oh my gosh, he's eating a sandwich. It was like the most amazing thing in the world. Like you're so excited.
PBJ party.
Yeah, you can't even explain that to people. Like he ate a
Excuse
peanut
me.
butter
No
and jelly
J. No J. No J. Sorry, just PB party.
but you're so excited, and people don't understand that like this kid worked really hard to get to this point. My daughter basically did the same thing in a quicker amount of time, figuring out how to eat different foods, and of course we're like excited at that age for those things, but it's like 10 times more exciting when like those seemingly little things happen. Those are huge things to us. And so just in general, I think the joy I found is like those moments of like, holy crap, like he just did this and we've worked on this for years. It's not always instantaneous. It's not like right away, but it's such a buildup. So when you do hit that marker of something, you'll never be able to explain how much joy that gives to you. And then like on another level, I literally remember the first time outside of like my son being a baby that he really got excited about something. And it was going to see my mother-in-law, his grandma. And one day when he was like, I want to say 3, I was like, we're going to go to Nana's house. And he just like kind of squeaked and jumped up with joy. And like my heart imploded because my son had never really showed excitement, probably from like 18 months on. Like he had been excited, I guess, in some ways, but like never like true, like super excited about something. He didn't show very much emotion in his toddler years outside of like anger or upsetness. And so I don't know, they're just these moments. Sometimes they're far and few in between, but when they do happen, it's like the most amazing feeling, that joy that comes.
I think it goes with the lows are so low, highs are so high, and everything that our kids do is a bigger deal. And almost none of it is relatable to
Yep.
people that we know outside of this world, which is why I think it is so isolating. Because, like you said, and we've heard other people say, oh, my kid ate a raspberry today, and like everyone's jumping up and down. But the people that don't understand this are like, what's the big deal? Your kid ate
Yeah.
a raspberry, right? So, what about you, Kimmy?
So, I think I have Alyssa and I have three other children who are neurotypical-ish. And I don't know, there's so many different things. Like you said, it's the waves that it comes in. And one of the things I find about autism that is unique is having a child that's nonverbal. I feel like my bond with her is so strong because I have to be so in sync with her. Like to do that on a nonverbal level is just it's almost like unimaginable if you haven't gone through it. And it's the first thing that people always say, like, well, how do you do this? And how do you know this? And you just you get to know them on such a different level. Now, don't get me wrong, I love all my children and they all bring something, they're all special and bring something different and special and unique to me in their own ways. But I think with her, it's a deeper level because I think the need for me to be her voice, the need for me to be her advocate, the need for me to help her navigate the world is so strong. You just get to know them on such a deeper level, I think.
I think I said that on our
And
last episode, Kimmy.
I think that it's like Jaime said, it's like seeing them do these things that are just, I mean, I was told that she would never understand words, that she would never speak, like that she would, never do this. And for her to say, I love you unprompted at 22 years old, 22 years I waited for that. I wasn't waiting for it anymore. Like I didn't think it would happen. And I was okay with it. I was okay with it. I know that she loves me and she shows me in other ways, and when she did that, that was like, I can't even explain. It's like shock and joy and like relief and just surreal all in one thing. And then it's like, okay, is she ever gonna do this again? And she doesn't do it often, but she does it. She does do it now. Now she says it back, and then same age she gave me a kiss for the first time. Like when you don't have that, like believe me, we forced her to hug us whether she wanted to or not. But like she always kind of gave you her head. Like she's never really able to like express. And I know that she loves us. Like I have no doubt. Like I don't need her to be able to say it. I don't need her to be able to kiss me. Like I know it's there. But now she gives real hugs. Once in a while, she will give me a kiss on the cheek, and I'm the only one that she's done it to. She has kissed Neil on his shoulder recently, very recently. And that's like, she does that to me once in a while too. It's just like the closeness is really hard for her. So for her to do this, it's like she's breaking down a barrier that like she has in order to do this. Like it's amazing, and it's something so simple, but like it means so much. Like everyone wants to hear that kid say I love you or, have that love and affection with your child. And it's really something that's, you really struggle with in I mean, they said she never talked and she's okay, I wouldn't say she's talking, but she's saying words. Like she's tonight, it's like she's repeating everything we say. It's like it's crazy.
And
I'm
she's
just like,
expressing herself too, like not just reciting or repeating, right? She's expressing herself.
yeah, and it's hard because it's like her speech is unclear, so sometimes it's hard to catch what she says, but she said something last night and I go, I think she said I want to. And what Neil's like, what do you want? You want two or what? And then she goes, apple juice. And she has the apple juice. And we're like, oh, she said apple juice. And she's like, apple juice. And for her to even say a word unprompted is still it's kind of a big deal still. She doesn't do it all the time. She does repeat words. And if you ask her, like, what something is, she can kind of say it that way, but she doesn't do a lot of it like unprompted still. So when she says, I mean, it wasn't that long ago that this was like, I think 2020 was the first time she did it ever in her life. Those things are so huge to us. Like and it's like you said, Jaime, they're things that like you really wouldn't notice if it wasn't for autism. Like you really wouldn't, you take your child's development for granted. You take a lot of children typical children just learn in a particular sequence that just kind of unfolds. With autism and developmental disorders, it's really their own timeline and some things get skipped and some things that are not supposed to happen until later happen earlier. Like it's just like this like so a typical way of developing that, sometimes it like catches your breath, and sometimes it's hard and sometimes it's frustrating and there's all these things that make it very challenging. But it's like when you can like look past those things and see your child happy, see your child, able to succeed in something they weren't able to do before or tolerate something that they weren't able to do before. Like not just she's only done it once or twice, but she went to a nail salon and got her nails painted. I remember saying on this podcast to somebody like, yeah, my daughter's
Me,
never
when I
gonna.
took Kaya, I could Kaya and I go every other Saturday, and we're like, oh, I don't know if I could ever do that with Alyssa.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And then you tried it like the week after that.
And we had somebody on the podcast and I was like, I remember thinking like, oh, that's great that they can do that, but that's not that it's the biggest deal to go get her nails painted. It is just one of those things that you kind of envision doing with your daughter.
It's a huge deal.
And she did it and she tried it. And I mean, she yelled the whole time and said, no, 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 no. No, she goes, yucky, yucky. She didn't like the feel of the wet, but she was able to stick it out. She was able to stick it out and do it. And it was like, wow, I never thought she'd be able to do this. She took a plane ride for the first time and we were fully like prepared to like plan B. We're going to rent a car and drive like and meet everybody else there. Like,
let's leave the airport. Yeah.
Yeah. Like
In a car.
fully not really knowing if we were going to get her on that. Like, it's just, and then to see her be able to just get out of her comfort zone and like be able to do these things, it's just, also, I'm the type of person that doesn't like being told that I can't do something. So also that, because I remember the first time we brought her to Florida, her grandmother was sick. She wanted a family vacation with everybody. I mean, we weren't going to tell her no. The people like, you're bringing, like, this is not good. Disney, like, no way, she can't handle it. And I'm like, well, we'll just see. We're just gonna try. And we had a timeshare, we had a condo, so it's like we had like, a place that had a full living room, kitchen, like should be okay. Somebody would stay back with her. And she did phenomenal. I mean, she did amazing. She did the best out of any of the kids on the car ride. It was like she just has this knack of like really surprising you and really being unpredictable, which keeps you on your toes. It just fills your heart. It just fills your heart, and even her smile and how happy she is. Like, yes, she has a lot of struggles and they're really hard. And her anxiety and rigidity makes certain things very difficult. But like, she just lives her best life every day. Like, she's just happy. She brings joy to anybody who's around her. Like, it's just, you have to
It gets
know
that
our
from her
kids to
mother.
even, yeah, but you have to know our kids to even be able to understand the level. And I think everything with them is just intensified. And
Yeah.
it sucks when it's their anger or their frustration, but like when it's their happiness and their joy, it's so elevated that you can't help but to get swept up into it, even if it's for the most minor thing. I would go to great lengths for her joy. I would travel around this place. I would search the internet high and low, whatever it is. If I think something's going to make her happy, like I will go to great lengths to. Happy? Are you happy? Yeah? You happy? Oh, you got a jacket? Come show the ladies your jacket that you're wearing. Show them.
Hi,
Oh,
Lulu. Look at that tiny jacket. My goodness, is that Ariella's?
Yeah.
Oh, it is so cute. Look at those flowers. And just like that, there's 4 aunties smiling. I mean, 3 aunties and a mom.
It's so hard sometimes for them to like, or for her to show me like what she wants and what makes her excited. So it's like when you find that thing, you just want to do that. You just want to do that for them. And I think that's where a lot of the joy comes for me.
what about you, Rachel?
A lot of times our joy is unexpected stuff because if Celi's excited about something, that often comes with such high expectations. So it's random stuff like passing a sunset for her that like really is the most sustainable joy here. But most of our joy, like for me, comes from finding the humor in all of this because, like if you don't laugh, you're going to miss all of this good stuff. And today we went and had a fantastic day. It does not happen often that she and I have an experience where she's safe all day and can sort of like be out and around. I was probably glowing. Like just to be able to be with her at peace is almost more valuable to me than joy. Like, I don't know. That being said, letting the good moments like move us to tears and really joining her for some hugs and celebration when she's filled with happiness is like imperative to refill your cup. It's like it brings respite to my soul. She doesn't necessarily have like the most typical things that make her happy, but when she finds like a sensory satisfying body balancing happiness, there's like something radiant about it. She has this T-Rex arms and shriek combo that anybody that sees it, if you know what it is, like just meets her where she's at. Because I mean, if you're not like hitting the floor like looking for a fallout shelter because that siren goes off, you can see the smile. It's a goodie. Some of the coolest things for us that have brought joy are finding baseball and friending. And like Jaime said, our whole family is affected by autism. Like we are a family of a mama, dad, and one autistic kid. And she, like, finding a setting where she can friend and be happy and safe has allowed us to find friends and be happy and be safe and sort of like dial down. And in those moments when all three of us are okay and engaging and whatever, I mean, it's just like exhausting, but also nothing better.
Yeah.
Really, there's these one smiles, like when you can catch a smile when Celie's in one of her like bipolar low trends, it's like enough to remind you that everything's temporary too. So I've just sort of trained myself to look at those moments and just like bask in the warmth of that sparkling second or whatever it is. Because we don't have a lot of good days strung along together. But there's a good moment in every day, you know?
Yeah.
How about you?
How about me? Well, I've really just found that joy the last few years. I was pretty, I'd say, focused on the hard. It just seemed so hard all the time that I couldn't find. I'm like, where's this joy everyone's talking about? Like, this is hard. But then when I sort of let go of that, it's like everyone has said here, when something happens, you just embrace it so much and you're so happy and seeing her happy. So I've shifted. There's obviously still the hard, that's just autism, but that there's just so much, it just sounds so cheesy. There is so much joy. When we went to dinner Friday night and she was sitting in the booth and she's just, I mean, she's stimming her heart out and she's happy. And I know that when she's doing that, she's just so happy. And I think, oh my God, we're out on Friday night or Saturday night, actually. We're out for dinner. We're at the keg. I can't even believe it sometimes.
You've arrived at your dream sometimes.
Yeah, like I can't even believe it
yeah.
sometimes. And I think yeah, autism sucks. It's hard every day for her. It's hard to walk out every day in this world for her. But those little moments, those things are just pretty awesome. But I said, Kimmy, when you're talking about your bond with her, that's what I said. I think it was the last episode or the episode before. I said, to no disrespect to anybody that has children, I'm not taking away from a bond, but there is a different bond. I would have to believe with your special need, because it's like you said, everything is like you're thinking it, you're speaking it, you're doing it for them, all of that right alongside them.
And don't get me wrong, I love all my children. You know what I mean? All of them, each and every one of them, in more than life, like more than anything in this world. But as they've gotten older, they're kind of moving through life a little bit. My son is married. He's a married man. He's off on his own. He has an apartment. Possibly he'll be starting his own family one day.
Was that a hopefully or a possibly? Hopefully?
Possibly. I'm not putting pressure. Kira is going into her senior year of college. They're moving through life like they're supposed to. They don't need me on the same level that she needs me. And I think that is what the difference is. It's not, I would never say I love her more than them. It's not like a more or less thing. I just think the bond is on such a different level because of she needs so much from me, and she's going to be staying with me. She's not going to be moving out. She's not going to be, venturing to life in the way that they do.
Right.
And she does it in her own little ways, but I feel like it's just very different. And especially when you have that nonverbal component of them you really just have to be so in sync with them. And so
we have to become everything that they aren't and they cannot do on their own, right? So you just stand there as their scaffolding in such a different way than your kids that are flying.
Well, and you learn body language, their eyes, their mannerisms, all these things that you can pick up on. I remember when we were in the Florida airport coming home, and I could see it. I can see her eyes were starting to dilate, and I know that's anxiety, right? I know there's a very short span of time before she goes from crazy inside to crazy outside. And it was very confusing. It would not have been her fault. And I'm like, people, we gotta, no, I know that people probably look at her and are like, oh, she looks so calm. Her fingers are twitching, they're just kind of doing that. They're rubbing together and her eyes are just slowly getting bigger. And I'm like, yeah, this is not good. And this is something that I can pick up on that even other people that we're with don't necessarily pick up on, because it's I'm not in tune with her, that like those subtle differences in her, even her body language, like I pick up, and you have to. It's like, I have to figure out like when there's something wrong. Is she sick? Is she hurt? Like, and it's like a full blown investigation every time something happens. You just gotta imagine them not being able to just have someone be able to tell you what's wrong. You gotta really like figure it out, and you just learn all these like kind of like little mannerisms and stuff that they have. But
Well, it's stuff like that, I know, very unlike me to be bitter Betty. However, there was a short, brief moment there in time where I was so jealous of my friends and I was so angry at them for complaining on like a Saturday for driving their kids to sports. I mean, I almost lost my mind. Like, I almost lost my mind because I was spending Saturdays in therapy. And I used to think, you are so lucky. You have no idea how lucky you are. And even to this day, I twitch a little when I see a mom on Facebook who has a neurotypical child, which
they take it for granted.
Take it for granted. Thank you, Kanka. If you only knew, like, how ridiculous you sound. And I know that sounds like everyone's allowed to feel it. I know, but there's a difference. And everyone is laughing right now.
Just still a voice you made. I've never heard that come out of your mouth.
It is the voice. It was the voice that put me over. Oh my God. What'd you say? Roll the tape back.
But thank you, Kimmy. It's for taking
this is
for
how
granted.
we find joy, okay?
And this is it. This is it. I'm trying to express joy, yet I'm not quite hitting the mark on it. So that's what I struggled with so much when she was younger, being stuck in kind of where we were, and then seeing other people getting to go to dance on Saturdays and soccer on Saturdays and all of those things that I envisioned doing.
I can own the fact that there are even other special needs families that I'm like, damn, that looks nice. All of a slice of that spectrum. I mean, that's just me being real.
And I think to me, it's the simplicity that people are able to navigate and move through life through, like, hey, do you want to come and, meet up for this? And
no, it's not like, do you want to come? It's like, hey, I need to go to the store, grab your shoes, we're leaving. Well, that does not happen in this house because
right.
You don't tell her anything, and you don't just grab shoes and go. I mean, so
and it's hard because it's like in doing so. Kind of one of the things that we have is like, we try things. They don't always work, but like without giving her exposure, she's never gonna learn to navigate through the community. And like, I think that's one thing that like we've always done, and is one reason that she's able to do a lot of things that are typical for someone who is like in a similar category to her. But when you try, you sometimes fail, and that's just a part of it. And that's hard when you have other children. You go somewhere and it doesn't work out,
and they
or
have
like
to
you're
leave.
there and she's screaming and this is happening and it's embarrassing for them, and people can say whatever they want. It's embarrassing for the kids.
It is embarrassing.
Like, people are staring. It's just, it's very hard to do that. And we celebrate everything. I don't care what it is. Anything that she does is a freaking celebration. I don't care if nobody understands why I'm doing a rain freaking dance. I'm going to do it. Like, it's just she deserves to be celebrated. Her wins are just as big as the other kids' wins. Like, no, she's not going to have the graduations, and she's not going to have prom, and she's not going to have a new job and a promotion and all these things that like we typically celebrate, but she has her own things that are worthy of celebrating. So I feel like that just does bring take away from some of the negative parts of it, and you can just focus more on, the things that she can do and try to meet her where she's at, and always try to push her that little bit, but not too much. Well,
I am thankful now because I mean, I should say we are lucky. I could be like, grab your shoes, we're leaving. So we're at a point now where I could grab her and go, but not like
but that took work. Like, it wasn't like overnight. You had to practice, and it's hard. Like, that's why I think the joy comes from like a couple different things that might sound like they contradict each other. Like, one is like giving them the opportunity to have joy by like getting them out in the world, trying things, even though they're hard. I mean, every time we would go out for years and years and years, it would end in me being really upset. I don't know if it was quite embarrassment, but just like almost anger at the way people would react, especially when he was little. Cause it's like, it's a little kid. Give him the benefit of the doubt, but people could be so mean and cruel and just stare. But it was always hard for him. It was like we couldn't be anywhere for more than like 45 minutes, I always said. And it took like about 30 minutes to warm up, and then 15 minutes we were good, and then it was like tough, you know?
And then 3 days to come down.
Yeah, but we had to do that to give him the opportunities to try other things, because it's like we just sat inside, and this is another thing, like my number 2 is like you have to like let go of the things that you think are supposed to give your kids joy. Like, you know, and
Yes.
this can be typical to kids too. Like you might have this idea of your kid going to prom, and your typical kid might not want to go to prom, but like for our kids, you know, there are some of those things that make me really, the saddest I get is when I see my son want to do something that he can't freaking do. Like he just doesn't understand how to do it. He can't socially do it. That's hard. But there's a lot of things that like I just had to let go of. Like he doesn't even care about this. And I'm getting sad, you know, about him not doing this thing that he could give a flying about. And so it's like this balance of like, okay, we got to try these things because you might like them and you might enjoy it. And that's freaking hard for our families. It's not simple.
Mhm.
And at the same time, there's some times where we just have to like let him be. Like we take him to Miracle League every week. And Jesse likes Miracle League and he has really great moments from it sometimes. But overall, he's like, about it. Like we do it to get him out of the house, to get him doing something active. The other day we went and he was just playing in the rocks. He just wanted to play with the rocks and like drop the rocks, pick them back up, drop the rocks. And I was like, you know what? This is his joy right now. This is making him happy.
Yeah.
Who the hell
I
am I
mean,
to, like,
Jamie, if it
yell at
makes you
him?
feel better, Neil used to do Power Ranger kicks right in front of the goalie, and then he wouldn't
The
even
goalie.
right in front of the yeah. No, he was supposed to be the goalie, but he was actually doing Power Ranger kicks. So
Did he get lucky sometimes though and get the ball?
you're just like looking at the sky, like,
But you know, we have these expectations for our kids. And I think in general,
Mhm.
sometimes you just have to let go of those. But at the same time, yes, Jesse could have joy by sitting and playing video games all day. Actually, I say that, but he would also get really upset at the video game if he lost, and that's a whole nother thing. But he could sit on his butt all day and that could be his joy. But like sometimes I have to push him out of his element to find other ways to get joy. And we've done that since he's little, because my thing is like I want to be able to travel as a family. And so we worked on that over the years. And I'll say like the fact that we started when he was so young has made that more possible because it's just like part of what we've done. But like I was so afraid to get on planes a million times that like if I had never done that, we would have never like known that now he loves like freaking amusement parks and he loves like seeing landmarks and all this different stuff. And yeah.
You guys, even you and Isaac have helped me with Sealy, Jane, because you accept that business Jess, we have business Sealy in the same exact way. Like she gets very like, what's the list? What are we going to accomplish? What order does it happen in? This better meet the mark, whatever. And I always saw that as like super huge discomfort. Like she's trying to control everything so that she can maintain. And maybe that's true, but it also is the building block for more comfortable
Yeah.
in a setting or like to get through until. And business Sealy or business Jess has like brought us to a lot of experiences that we wouldn't have if we didn't continually expose her and also accept that that's like a part of her experiencing something, you know?
I always worry about that because it's like if something goes wrong, then we could go the other way. But like accepting that my son's joy doesn't always look like the stereotype of what you think joy looks like too.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, like when we went to London and we saw Big Ben, if you saw that kid walking down the street looking very serious, he just had to get to that clock tower and we just walked. We took off. He wanted
Straight
to go
to it.
tunnel vision. We just walked, which is fun. But you wouldn't have been like, oh, that kid's so happy to be here. That kid's so no, he was so
Right, 'cause
serious
he's
about it. 'Cause he's
marching.
like, I
Right.
have to see this. Like, I want to do, like, I've seen this on TV. I want to see it. At no point would you be like, this kid was excited about this. But I know that that brought him so much joy.
Yeah.
Like, and only I mean, our family knows it too, just by like the fact that he wanted to be there and the fact that he tolerated doing all that to see it. But it's not what you would see on the outside as joy. But I know that he's excited as his mother, and that brings me a lot of freaking joy too.
There's also that special interest joy that happens for our kids. So like rocks when they want to be in the rocks, or Big Ben when you're finally arriving at this trip you look forward to. In Sealy's case, like if she is to relate anything to this like big explosion, I'm sorry, if I could relate anything to like these big explosions of happiness for her, it's always around something that has to do with like water or mermaiding or it could be that we're having like a wicked bad day at Target or something like that. And she sees somebody or sees something that can snap her into grief, even happiness, because it's like she's locked in on something that's within her mermaid interest or whatever the focus is of the text. Like Jaime seeing a Harry Potter wand or something, you know.
Well, and I think like you think about Kaya and how much she loves
You
eating
just
out.
hold up a wand at
I
the
actually
ready.
don't know what this is. It's sitting on Isaac's desk and it looks like a
Oh my
wand to
God.
me. I don't know what it's from.
That is so funny.
Anyway,
Do a spell.
but like I think about Kaya and how much, I mean, this is a weird to us, but how much she loves like going out to eat. And even just the other day,
Yeah.
they like went and then I don't think it turned out how Jenn thought it would turn out. But it's like Jenn being like, okay, she wants to go to eat, so we're gonna go do it. Like honoring those little things. And sometimes I think people think that appears like as a spoiling. Like my son has so many toys because my God, my son didn't show interest as much. If he remotely showed interest in anything, I would buy him the whole set of whatever that was because it was, you know, like you just want him to love it. And sometimes he didn't care, and sometimes he did care.
And then when he loses the purple Sunny Bunny, you have to get a whole new set because
Yes,
hello,
which is not cheap. The
more
freaking
joy.
out of date toy. You do whatever you can, and people see that as like spoiling. They're like, "Oh, you're gonna drop everything to go get your kid that, or take your kid to that restaurant." And it's like, yeah, because my kid doesn't find happiness in
You
this.
bet I am.
Yes.
We're not spoiling. We're trying to make our kids' lives a little easier and give them some freaking joy. So
I
shut
will
up.
indulge a smile at anything 2 digits. Okay, that's just what it is.
Well, even like for her, like for Christmas, for instance, like we don't know what you got her. She doesn't like anything. It's like she likes the idea of certain things, but I just buy it. She picks it out on Amazon. I get it. Like she opens it up, it sits in a tote. I mean, I spent $200 and she was happy and excited and thrilled to open presents. Like, what does it really matter? Like honestly, at the end of the day, what does it really matter? It doesn't really matter. I mean, this girl's more happy having ice cream than she is doing anything else in this world. So
You know, I
Don't
just want
blame
to
her.
put it out there. We would like this, Amazon.com, if you're listening, we're hoping for a sponsorship because we as autism moms support your ass in these indulgent purchases late in the night and the extra movie rentals and the extra toy deliveries and the please get it here fast shipping.
I mean, her
I've been
tiger
sponsored,
stuffed
get at
animal that I paid $24.99 for that she picked up on her own, 2020. First time she did that since she had been super little. Like she normally won't pick anything out at a store, so she wants it to stay at the store, like it belongs at the store, you know.
Mhm.
This thing has brought her more joy than I could even tell you.
and skills.
Has helped her relate and communicate and show us things that she wants. I mean, that's the best $25 I ever spent. Like,
If our listeners don't know, before Alyssa has the confidence to do stuff on her own, often she'll bring Minnie or Tai Tai to do it. So Tai Tai might get an ice cream bar when she doesn't have the guts to be like, I need an ice cream bar. You know, is that right?
or like
Kitty?
she'll bring him over to the table and his little paws will touch the chips. Like,
Right.
and we go, "Oh, does Tai Tai want chips?" And she'll say, "Yeah," but like, and then we know that she wants chips, so then we give her the chips. So it's just
Just the cutest.
he can get rejected, not her.
Right.
I need to teach Jesse something like that. He's so afraid of us saying no to stuff now.
Mhm.
But even like I was gonna say with Jesse, like the whole opening thing. So it was like forever. It took forever to Jesse want to open gifts. Like he did not understand it at all. And now it's just the opening. So like those LOL little expensive stupid balls, he thinks those are so cool. He's seen the commercials. He sees how excited the kids are to open them, and it's so sweet. Because I'll just buy him an LOL and he'll open it and then he'll just give it to his sister because he doesn't actually want the thing. He just wants the joy to opening it. And I'm like, those little suckers are $15 a pop. But like, if there's
Yeah.
ever like a reason, I'm like, I'll get him an LOL. I don't freaking care. Like, it's just like we do whatever to bring our kids that joy. We've seen our kids experience a lot of hardship, and every day of their lives is hard. And so
Listen,
giving them that
yes.
joy when we can't is everything.
She asked me
Mhm.
for a Christmas tree one year in March. She wanted to put the tree up. Put the tree up. She was like 4. And she pointed to where it was under the thing. And I said, the Christmas tree, she was nonverbal at the time, but she was watching Elmo's Christmas. So like I was
Mhm.
putting it all together. I put the tree up. She was so excited. And one of my customers commented on my post and said, there's a time and place to say no to kids. And that's what everyone went at her. Actually, and I let them.
Was
I was
there
like, have
a
fun.
middle finger emoji that day? I'm just
Yeah.
asking.
Me and Jen will be the first to admit we may have created princess monsters a little bit. A little bit.
Jesse thinks like if he likes something that he should get it. And that kid he'll like a show
he
that
should.
was popular 10 years ago and my butt's on eBay looking for
Yes.
where I can find the toy, and it's always 10 times more expensive because it's some mom hoarding it. Like, I can get money for this from
I
some
know,
stupid
from
autism
some
mom. Okay, I don't think they're
fucking
thinking that, but
Connecticut.
that's what's happening.
Well, Kaya
But-
does add to cart, but thankfully she hasn't swiped yet, because then I'd be in big
Oh my
trouble.
God, don't say
Well,
that. to
Alyssa
me
did
first.
that. She was doing that buy now swipe thing.
Yeah.
Oh,
And-
She
she
just
did
and
not
what
add to
hap-
cart because
So
quite
what
frankly, I
happened?
buy it all anyway if she wants something. So it's not really like,
But
you
what
know,
happened?
but
Well, she bought
anywho.
$25. She bought 3 princess nightgowns. No,
For
that's a
kids,
lie.
babies.
She bought, hold on, 1 princess nightgown for $25. That was a size 7-8. I had to give to Ari. I was like, "Is this for Ari?" She said, "Yeah." I don't know if it really was. She sees things that I swear she sees things that like she thinks Ari would like, and she wants those too. And then Neil got a new bank card, and then his old one didn't work. So like once she used it and it didn't work, she's never done it since then. I'm like, can we
Thank
not?
goodness.
She got a $40 jacket that doesn't fit her. And I went to return it, but I was like a day past the thing that you can return something. I'm just like, okay. Glad that brought you joy, Alyssa. I'm really glad.
Steely's into the wanting, not the getting. And so there's like anxiety in wanting and then disappointment in getting for her. So a lot of times the joy for us is like, those sunsets are like an eagle flying by and her realizing it, or like taking a picture of a river. I mean, it is the most obscure stuff, but it like radiates out of her. I mean, when that kid is happy, you are gonna, you get like hit with that vibe, like it's a whole
Well, and then it's hard because in
vibration
order
for real.
to sometimes give our kids the joy, they have to do the hard things to get there. Like this one's VACHION. We can't even say that word. She goes crazy, like it's some punishment worse than death. And if she was a person that hated it and just didn't like it, no, she's the happiest. I can't even explain how happy she is when we're away together as a family. I mean, the last time we went to DISNEY, you guys can say it, I can't say it. She like slept through the night, three of the nights. Like she never sleeps through the night.
Yeah.
We're all moving to Florida.
Literally,
Expensive
she
nap.
was so. But yeah, well, exactly. But like, I would do it again just to make her happy. But it's hard because I can't even like be like, "Oh, do you want to do this?" She's like, "No." Yeah, she wants no part of it. She just wants the result. I mean, I guess it's better than liking the
You
idea
guys don't
because I
talk
feel
to me
like
about it unless I'm under the palm trees.
a lot of
I don't wanna
a
hear
lot
about
of kids and adults, I think it's like they really like the idea of stuff, but then like the execution of it, or it's like wanting that gift, but then getting the gift and it's like, this I don't really want this. You know what I mean? It's just like it's opposite for her.
Okay.
But
Every day I order something on Amazon and then I get it. And I'm like, why did I order this? I was
Well,
just
I was going to say, if you're looking for the joy, people, look no further than the Amazon app.
That
is
brings you down in the
actually-
end because it's empty. It's empty.
Well, I always used to say add to cart. Like I would just like add to cart. So now she's like, oh, add to cart because mom's gonna buy it anyway. And we've got costumes like you, Kimmy, that don't fit, that aren't cheap, but she wants one piece out of the costume. So like,
Oh God.
yeah. Anyway,
It has to be
it's a
that
good thing,
one.
yeah. So
Oh,
there's the joy, everyone. We hope you found some. We've gotten a little bit long-winded. Do we want to do a really quick one last thing
hold on, I gotta show you this. This is what we just ordered tonight.
for
Aww.
her?
Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
To
it's
our
her size.
listeners, Kim just held up a possibly $80 Elsa dress in
Elsa.
glorious blue aqua with the lace, the like netting arms, the
It's
whole deal.
40. Like that's reasonable for a birthday gift.
Yeah,
Totally.
that's totally reasonable.
I mean, if
There was another thing I was gonna say, which Kim kind of reminded me of the vacation of you guys being together. Jesse's cutest thing, which the last year really, has been when we're all together as a family. So like we go on a walk like every couple days, and like just it was a little chilly yesterday. He's like, let's all snuggle. He was like, snuggle, snuggle, because he wants
Oh.
squeezes all the time. But he loves when we do things together as a family, and he'll be like, as a family, it's the cutest freaking.
You know what?
You-
I don't have an Isaac or a Jesse or an Amelie, but you know what I mean? Kaya likes to be with our family too, like my mom, my brother. Even at dinner on Friday, I think one of the disappointments might have been, one, I picked the wrong keg apparently. Two, she's like, family? I'm like, well, no, it's just us. And she was like, peace out. Like she loves to be with so my nephew's birthday's on Wednesday. So we're going out for dinner on Wednesday, and first thing
same
out
as
of her,
Alyssa.
oh, same day. That's right. First thing out of her mouth this morning was, how many sleeps for dinner with family at Milestones? Like, just gets it all out because she knows, right?
She's like, let me be specific this time,
Yeah.
lady.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
that's
If
Jesse
you
with our
prefer-
extended family too. He loves when, even if he is having a hard time being around everyone socially, he just loves everyone being together. It's the sweetest
Yes.
thing. But it's also
Yeah.
the saddest thing. He loves being around like certain kids at school and stuff, and you can tell they find him awkward or something. And then it breaks my heart because he wants to be around them or see it, and then like
I know,
everything
it's
is
really
huge.
hard. Yeah, so one last thing. Anyone? I've got one. So if you want me to go first, I'm gonna do it.
Oh,
Because
yeah.
I do believe on my Thursday episode, I incorrectly stated that Kylie Kelsey was pregnant with baby number 4, and she is not pregnant with baby number 4. So, I just want to make sure because, Jason and I chatted about it with Kai, and we were chatting about my mistake. And Kai's like, no, I'm not. So I misspoke.
Correction.
Correction.
She's really
More
spreading
than
the
one
rumors
last
out
thing.
there. She's putting the rumors out.
I know, because I'm still on the beat pulse there.
So this week is Alyssa's birthday, and she this year has picked the past 3 years only has she started picking out what she wants for a birthday cake. And this year she picked Elsa and Olaf. She's very clear that she wants both of them on her cake. She actually picked out a font that's a thing that said "Happy Birthday, Emily." She's not gonna have that. So hopefully, also I have to find a bakery like Frozen. You think is one of the most popular like Disney things, and one of the stores didn't have Frozen at all, which I don't even understand. The other one only had Elsa and Anna, and she wants it on the cake, not the figurines. So I have to figure that out and fast.
So you probably should figure that out fast because you gotta find someone if they can draw it, like draw
No,
it.
they don't need to draw it. They do like, they do those like
It's
picture
like these
things.
sheets that are printed on sugar paper. And so
Oh,
it would like print an Elsa and Olaf scene
that's
on the
good.
sugar paper, and then they like lie it on the cake with a space that for the happy birthday, Emily.
But I mean, we went to 2 supermarkets and Walmart, and like nobody had the. Yeah, I'm like, what the? I'm gonna go to a different Walmart. Well, I'm gonna call them tomorrow and hopefully talk to
All
somebody.
that DQ for that ice cream cake. That shit is delish.
Oh, I
She
love.
doesn't love ice cream cake, but yeah. So
Don't tell her I said anything, but she's actually wrong about that.
she's
Don't tell her I said.
yeah. So that's what's happening. Hopefully, I can pull that together by this weekend.
What about you,
But
Rach?
yeah.
My one last thing is to thank Jerry, who I'm sure doesn't listen, but you got to hear this thing that happened. To our listeners, you probably are following along with our Harry Potter series. So you know that when I saw Jerry's tweed coat, I instantly thought of Umbridge, that stupid bitch in pink tweed. Anyway, so I make this flirt to this like 90-year-old fella named Jerry, and I was eating breakfast. I just said, "Hey, listen, I just want you to know you look very dapper, sir. I don't mean to interrupt your morning." He's eating by himself while I'm eating by myself while I was talking to a girlfriend from high school that was also there eating by herself. Turns out Jerry had eavesdropped on our whole conversation. So he turns around with like a greeting and a prayer for us, basically, after I had this flirt. And then he bought us our breakfast. So,
Oh,
Jerry, I'm sure you're not listening in Arizona in a tweed coat, but if you are, 1 in 26 of your grandkids have a chance of being autistic. So maybe their parents are listening. And I'm just letting you know it warmed my soul to share a breakfast. Thanks, Jerry.
thanks, Jerry.
Mm-hmm.
We've been going to like a new church-ish, a new like group of people, and Jesse's been going. He hasn't liked going to church, and we don't make him go to church. So if he doesn't want to go, he doesn't go because my husband doesn't go to church. But he's been going the last couple months, and the children's like the lady who's over the children like stopped me in the hall this Sunday, and she was like, Jesse was participating, and which was like a big deal in like their music thing. And apparently one of the ladies that helps run it, because like the first few weeks I had to sit in there and I didn't know this, she's like a speech therapist, and so she brings like these lap sensory things and stuff for him to use and all this stuff, which is really awesome. And I didn't know all this, like not that our old church wasn't welcoming or great, but they just didn't seem to understand autism very well. And so it was really cool, and like they were all excited. And then even the music director lady texted me, who I don't really know, and she was like, "Hey, I just wanted to let you know that like Jesse was participating and he did this and this, and I would even kill for someone like the other kids to actually participate like he does. Jesse loves music, so he'll always get there with music." So it was just really sweet, like that these two ladies went out of their way to tell me this, when like I know for a lot of us, like church can be a really awkward place for our kids. Like our kids don't always fit into the ideal situations at church, and you really have to have people who like make sure they're included. And so it was really cool and heartwarming, and I was excited that
I
he tried.
love
And it was
that.
it's just really sweet that like they didn't, I've never even said anything to them. I mean, I told them he's autistic, and then I sat in there for a few weeks until he like warmed up to like being in there for a little while by himself. But the fact that like they went out of their way to like let me know that he was participating and stuff was really sweet.
And that she brought tools for him. Did you say she brought a weighted lab pad? It was so cute.
Yeah, not one of the ladies I talked to, but someone else has been bringing them for some of the kids, and so they always make sure Jesse has one. And they said that he's like getting the routine down, and he'll go and make sure he gets one from her, and so it's really cool.
That's so
That's
cute.
so cool.
Yeah, he loves the
Nice.
routine.
All right, listeners, thank you for joining us today. Join us next week as we wrap up with our no res.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you for joining us for this episode of the Talk Like a Mother Parenting Autism podcast. If you are enjoying our podcast, make sure to rate and review us wherever you listen. And if you'd like to support us, you can become a subscriber. Just check out the description of this episode. Give us a follow on Facebook and Instagram for more content, and we'll see you next time.